Did you know maize ranks as the world's third most produced cereal, right after wheat and rice? And yet, even with such importance, creating new, high-yielding maize hybrids isn't as simple as picking the biggest plants in the field. Let me tell you a story. At Abu Garash Farm, 2 consecutive seasons of trials revealed just how much hidden potential lies in maize inbred lines, but extracting that potential? Well, that's the real puzzle. See? Plant breeders face a classic dilemma. How do you pick the plants that will deliver the best yields, not just this season, but reliably, year after year? This brings us to 2 technical terms, genotypic variation and phenotypic variation. Think of genotypic variation as the plant's DNA blueprint, while phenotypic variation is what you actually see in the field how the plant grows, which can be masked by weather or soil changes. Now, you might be thinking, why not just measure what grows best? But here's the conflict. Environmental factors can cloud the results. One plant might look great simply because it got more rain, not because it has better genes. That's where breeders need methods that sift out environmental noise tools, that find the true genetic stars, not just the lucky ones. So, how can we separate nature from nurture and make smarter choices? Enter advanced selection techniques, and that's exactly where best linear unbiased prediction, or BLUP, steps in. Curious how it works? Let's decode it next. So, what is BLUP anyway? Imagine you're a coach trying to spot the next soccer star, but the games are played in different stadiums, some with muddy fields, some with perfect grass. BLUP, or best linear unbiased prediction, is like a statistical referee. It estimates each player's true ability regardless of field conditions. Technically, BLUP is a method that predicts breeding values. Think of it as a plant's genetic potential to pass on good traits, adjusting for both random and fixed effects. In simpler terms, it doesn't get fooled by a lucky sunny day or a sudden rainstorm. Now, you might ask, isn't this just complicated math? Yes, it uses linear models and assumptions about data, but the payoff is huge. For example, in the Damascus University study, BLUP helped reveal which maize inbreds were genetically superior, even if their field performance looked average at first glance. Here's the twist. BLUP shrinks extreme scores towards the overall MENA process called shrinkage. It reduces the risk of overestimating a plant just because it had perfect conditions. With BLUP, breeders get unbiased estimates of which lines are truly best for hybrid development. But what traits should we actually focus on? Let's unpack the key measurements next. Let's dive into the real-world measurements that matter in maize improvement. Have you ever wondered why breeders obsess over things like anthesis-silking interval or leaf area index? Each trait is a chapter in the yield story. For example, the anthesis-silking interval, that's the gap between pollen release and silk emergence, can make or break kernel set. If it's too long, fewer kernels get fertilized. Leaf area index tracks how much canopy is available for soaking up sunlight. Imagine it as solar panels for grain production. Now, environmental impact is ever present. This is where 2 more technical terms come in, heritability and genetic advance. Heritability tells us how much of a trait's variation is due to genes, not luck. Meanwhile, genetic advance predicts how much improvement we'll see if we select the best plants. In the Damascus study, traits like plant height, ear height, and kernel number showed high heritability and strong genetic advance. The catch? Some traits, like the anthesis-silking interval, were more influenced by the environment, meaning they're trickier targets for selection. So, when breeders use BLUP, they're not just picking tall plants, they're triangulating the traits that reliably predict high yield despite the weather's mischief. Want to know which inbred lines came out on top? Let's reveal the standouts. Alright, let's see BLUP at work. In the Damascus experiment, 5 maize inbred lines were put through rigorous tests over 2 seasons. The data were crunched, the noise filtered, and the results? 2 lines, IL-272-6 and IL-9014, emerged as genetic frontrunners. Now, you may be wondering, what made these lines so special? Well, both showed consistently high breeding values for grain yield, biological yield, and harvest index. That's breeder speak for. They produced more grain per plant, more total biomass, and converted their growth into actual harvestable kernels more efficiently. BLUP also spotlighted lines excelling in traits like water use efficiency and nitrogen use efficiency, crucial in regions where resources are limited. Imagine a plant that sips water but still packs its ears with kernels. That's the dream. But here's the resolution. The real power of BLUP isn't just in picking winners for one field or one year. It helps breeders predict which crosses will keep winning season after season and even under changing climates. So, as researchers recommend continued multi-environment testing using BLUP, the next generation of maize hybrids may be smarter, tougher, and more productive than ever. The takeaway? With the right tools, we're not just growing crops, we're engineering resilience into our food future. Did you know maize ranks as the world's third most produced cereal?